evening, Kyber Cave Productions family. Yes, Van was on time, but as well, technical issues, so he switched to his phone. So we just don't even have to worry about it.
Yes.
So hello, everybody. Yes, tonight is my last night before my much-needed 5-week vacation from the channel. I know you're saying woohoo, but really inside, you're like, oh.
I know, but I at the same time, I know that you work very hard. I know that you've been putting in a lot of work behind the scenes that people can't even see. So even when they don't get to see your bright and beautiful face on a Sunday night or on a Wednesday stream, a lot of times people don't know that you're doing stuff behind the scenes to make things happen as well.
Yeah, I do. And I try to find guests. I organize. I make show sheets so our guests know what's going on. I design merch. I'm working for Kyber Cave for a little while now, and I'm just doing a lot of that stuff that's behind the scenes and all the editing. I'll gather all like the music. I do all that kind of stuff. And then you've got Graveyard, who does her Retro Alcove, and right now Saturday Morning Nerd Out is a little bit on the pause for like a few weeks, but it'll be back very soon. So don't forget to check those out.
A lot of the work that that Mez has been doing in the background is for our new show under Aubrey's direction. Call that we order. Yes, New Order that we are excited about, and we will be ready for that when that comes out.
They said if Van nukes the channel, if Mez is away, she'll bring it back when she returns, hopefully.
I told you I'm going to try my best not to set the place on fire.
Did you all know that like Van had a show before I joined the channel? You know, it was a thing.
Yeah, you know, especially Say Wong should know. Say Wong has been through like 3 or 4 of my producers. We've had Chris was the original producer, Chris, and then we had Ezra. V. What was her name? Veronica. Then Ezra. Yeah, so you were like the 4th producer here.
yeah, but I've been here for over 2 years now, so that makes me feel kind of old.
You are definitely the most experienced of all the producers here.
When it comes to how long I've been on Kyber Cave. I know that maybe the others have been doing some stuff longer when it comes to producing shows. Before I joined this channel, I had only ever been like on a solo channel. That was just me by myself. So this was my first like group thing. Veronica was also known as Phoenix. Or we just called her V. That is a story that is long and not to be told. What do we do about our first thing, though, guys? Do you guys remember what our first thing is? Gosh, you might forget to do it while I'm gone.
Nerdy news.
Nerdy news, you guys. First story on the nerdy news is Acolyte character posters debuted, guys. Which is really cool. I'm popping it into the chat, but if you're watching the upload, you can check out the description below, which has the link to this article. I'm really excited for this show. Amanda, who we talked about last week, that plays the violin and played John Williams' new score. She's second to the right on the posters there. And she played Rue in Hunger Games, for those who may have think, oh, I may have seen that person before. I don't know where I've seen her, though. Because it's been a little while since that Hunger Games premiered in that first of the series. So I think that was really cool. I'm very excited for this one.
So this is going to be what is it? Tuesday at midnight. So not tomorrow night, but the midnight after is when this drops online, correct?
I believe so. My husband and I leave. The first part of the vacation that I'm having is on Saturday evening. My husband and I leave on an anniversary trip. It's our anniversary.
Yes.
And, I think we're going to watch some of that while we're on our anniversary, like save it for that. So I'm very excited for it. Next on our nerdy news, guys, Star Wars Father's Day gift guide. Hello. Isn't that coming around the corners? Father's Day is very close by. You can check the link in the description, but you can also check in the description if you're watching the upload. All the really cool, awesome stuff that you can check out and get for your pops in your life.
Yes. I know. Don't forget about Papa's on Papa's Day.
I know, see, you don't want to it's like, oh no, Father's Day gifts. My husband and I and our family, we will be coming back from Mexico on Father's Day. for after a mission trip. So we'll be exhausted. We'll probably do a little Father's Day thing maybe a week later. Because it'll be on. Where are the chances that dads will get these? I don't know. It all depends on who ends up trying to, use it. But, anyway, so you guys can check those out.
Hey, this would be a great time to remind everybody, don't forget about kybercave.com. It's not listed up right now, but we have a special going on right now in honor of the Acolyte. If you buy any 3 sabers, you get a free Acolyte saber. Acolyte is one of our models that we happen to have. Or it's 10% off on any saber on the website right now. So head over to kybercave.com. Yep. We don't often do a lot of sales, but we're going to start doing more promotions. A lot of it's to drive people into the store, but we're going to start doing more promotions online and getting more traffic started. So it's 10% off on any saber right now, and if you buy 3, you get a free Acolyte saber in your color choice.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And while I'm at it, I also want to mention that we are only, I want to say like we're 62. I know we're not that far away.
No, we're 60 exactly.
60 exactly. We are 60 subs away from giving away a saber that's going to be valued at roughly $500 plus. We are giving away a NeoPixel saber. I'm not sure which one we're going to give away yet, but it will be a NeoPixel Profi saber, the highest level saber you can get.
That is so cool. I'm actually charging my saber right now. All right, guys. Well, next we have, so James Kaiser is a producer on this show, and every week he searches and scours the internet for a flow to show for the show. Flow to show for the show. Flow to present at the show. A flow artist can be anything from a saber spinner to a sword specialist, gloving, fire dancer. And today we do have a sword specialist. And our sword specialist, I cannot pronounce, and I do apologize for that. But you can check out, excuse me, you can check out his Facebook in the description below, and I'll post it in the chat during the flow. So please enjoy today's flow of the show. Right. I did incorrectly have the name on there, the name incorrectly at the end, but you can check his name out here in the chat where I put his link. It's Guillaume. I don't know how to say it, so I'm sorry.
Okay. I was going to say, because I was like, Neo Fire Arts is pretty easy to pronounce.
No, this one, if you see the name underneath, it's Guillaume, and then Cousson. I'm sorry that I don't know how to pronounce it, but I really hate like butchering names online, so I'm not going to say it.
Dude, so I want to say that was like so smooth, and I can't remember the last time we've actually had an actual sword artist on here, but it was just so mellow and smooth that at first I didn't even realize there was levisaber moves that he was doing. Like I didn't realize.
Sword, in a sense.
Right, it just looked so natural. I was like, oh, he just, but then I was like, wait a minute, he's making that thing float.
When there's Flow the Show and all the videos that we have on the show, I pick the music for it. It's not pre-done because sometimes they're talking things, and I go ahead and I make something that I put music to that I know we have a license for.
Right.
And I watched a few moments though to kind of get what the feel is, and it felt very meditative and relaxing with his slow. It's like Tai Chi sword.
Right.
So I just put like a really cool, chill, like vibe music to it, and I think it fit pretty well.
That's definitely a study in like the difference in and how music can affect your mood for stuff. That's definitely cool. That was very cool.
Yeah, very much. I enjoyed watching that one. All right. Well, it's time for our guest, sir.
It is time for our guest. I'm actually hold on. I'm getting excited, and then I was looking at my power bank, and I was like, "Ooh, do I have enough? I should have enough. I have like 50% on my phone. Okay, I should be good to go." If it's not one thing, it's another.
Always with you, Van.
You know what is funny? I'm excited about this next guest in that we've been running this show for 3.5, like 4 years now, since 2020. Yeah, so we've been running this show for like 4 years now. And this person is one of the nearest and dearest people in my life. She has been my lucky charm on so many projects in my past that I was like, wow, I cannot believe I have never had this incredible person on the show before. This incredible person is a spoken word artist. For some of you who may or may not have known, I spent a great chunk of my life on stages. I helped produce one of America's first webcast poetry slam series in America. We used to do a weekly show that was webcast out of Sacramento. We had a TV show that was on in over 1 million homes. And I was part of the Bay Area spoken word scene at a time when some would say it was the golden era. There's so many of the influential poets that are touring right now came from or through the Bay Area. And this woman has been a master of all the teams. She is, in fact, I don't want to get this wrong, but I think she is the only person to Grand Slam champion in every single Bay Area team. She's the only person to do it. So with no further ado, please give it up for SevanKelee Boult. What up? How you doing?
I'm chilling. How about yourself?
Oh man, I am good. I'm good. Hey, just to let you know, I can't see a lot of these comments. I've got my old man glasses, so if you see me going
Don't
like
worry,
that,
I see the comments.
hey, there's B right there. So I think it's hilarious. I've had the show running for 4 years now, and I have never had you on the show. But I'm very excited. I want to let people know we have a big kind of a privilege that it's a privilege for me. But you are actually going to be like the official model for Kyber Cave. You are on our packaging. So when we have brand new packaging that is coming out for our Saber products, and this is one of the models you will see on the side of the box. So I guess that's the kind of like your grand entry into the Saber world.
Let's go. I'm excited. I'm so excited for this. This is like I get to be packaging now. That's the
But you know what? I mean,
25
that's the
years.
weird thing talking about you is you've done so many incredible things. A lot of them in the spoken word, world. But you've done so many things in so many different artistic realms. I mean, you were on Real Sex in HBO before people even, knew what spoken word was. You were one of the kind of pioneers for it at that time. You've done so many cool things. Why don't you tell people a little bit about who you are, where you came from?
Oh well, I'm from East Palo Alto, California, the toughest
Yeah.
city in the Bay. Um, I've been writing since childhood. Graduated from high school, went to the military, wasn't happy about that. Got out of the military, went to college. Ended up junior college, ended up transferring to UC Berkeley, where I did. I am Poetry for the People June Jordan alumni. So for those of you who are in the know of like the world of writing and activism, June Jordan was one of the bigger, Bay Area, queer names that was out pushing like for not just women's rights, queer rights, civil rights, all of it, all the whole package. So she's a
Right.
dope essayist, a professor. She's like the Nikki Giovanni level of her time. So
Right.
she was my poetry teacher at UC Berkeley. Graduated from UC Berkeley, and from her class, really like writing and wanting to perform more. Like I performed all my life though, like in the midst of all that I'm talking about, I acted at church. I was a church kid, so I was acting at church. All the reciting, all that stuff. The Mother's Day, Easter, Father's Day, Christmas. My largest crowd that I ever performed in front of was when I was 16, in front of like 3,000 people at church.
Right.
Right, doing my own rap. So I was allowed to be creative even in church. So at church, I was Special K. I was the Christian rapper. And that's really where I performance wise, I feel like where I got my start was was in church and stuff.
Right.
And then Real Sex. That is a whole story in itself. I'll make it quick. Like so.
And also, do try to remember too that this is a family show, so we're going to be talking about adult things, but we're going to be trying to talk about it in as a family-friendly way as possible.
Gotcha. So no, okay, that's even better because it makes it easier for me to tell the story.
Right.
So basically, in a nutshell, like in the mid, so from 96, 90, so once Tupac got out of jail, like look at it this way, once Tupac got out of jail and was like that summer of 96, I was in college, and then 97, and then he got killed, and then 97, 98, these are these big years of poetry in the Bay Area, like every venue had a poetry night. There was nowhere that you could go in the Bay Area that didn't have somebody's open mic or somebody's slam. So
right. And
like,
hold really quickly, just to put that in perspective for some of the people in the audience, we are very, very blessed in the Bay Area. When I used to run a poetry venue out of Sacramento and then out of Fairfield, and at that time, there was when you consider Northern California to about Southern California. I'm not even talking. I'm sorry, mid California. Say cut it off at about Monterey. I'm not even talking about Southern California. Cut it off at Monterey. I believe we had 21 different venues that you could go spit at any given time of the week. Whereas you could go to some parts in this country and you're lucky to have one or two venues in the entire state.
Once a month.
Right, exactly. So to have so many different venues in the Bay, to some in the poetry, you may be used to it, or you may say, oh, that's not a lot or whatever. But considering you could go to some parts of the country and you might be in driving distance of 1 or 2, in a month.
Well, it's like we get to run a circuit out here versus
Right.
like, okay, so like in Slam, right? You go to nationals, you go to a national event. Texas got 13 teams. California got 13 teams. Half the 13 teams of California are coming from the Bay Area. The other half is coming from LA.
Right.
Like really, because you had enough areas. So it's like San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, Palo Alto, San Jose, Santa Cruz, Fairfield. We have to count.
Right. Sacramento,
we counted as the Bay just because they had to come down and compete with us.
Santa Cruz, Monterey.
And then Monterey. So we had 9 out here. Just 9. It was 27. See, there we go with all the numbers.
And then like I know there was also Chico up north, and there was
So anyway, I digress. So in the 90s, in the late 90s, in 97, 98, was a really big time of a lot of poetry everywhere. There was this specific venue called Dorsey's Locker. Now, Dorsey's Locker was like the Apollo of poetry, performance art of any kind. If you wanted to do rap, if you wanted to sing, if you wanted to do poetry, anything, comedy, you went to Dorsey's Locker, you did your 2-3 minutes. If the people liked you, they would be quiet. If they didn't, they would get to talking and loud talk you and boo you off the stage. Be like, we done listening to you. We want the next person already.
Right.
Respect, right? So you had to come with your A game, right? So this was like the pinnacle of it, right? So there was this group, and I'll just say Jessica Holter, and she had a group called the Punani Poets, where they did erotic poetry to promote safe sex and AIDS awareness.
Right.
So that was the point of the eroticism of the whole thing. The point was AIDS awareness and promoting safe sex, right? In a really cool and sexy way. So I wrote this poem, I was 25, I was feeling myself. I wrote this poem and I was like, this poem is a dope poem. I know it's a kicker. And Jessica would be at the Dorsey's Locker, or she would be at the bar, the benching bar. So I saw her outside one night at the benching bar. I spit the poem to her. I said, you should have me in one of your shows. She said, exactly. She said, you're absolutely right. I want this poem because even though the topic is raunchy, as my mom would say, it was promoting safe sex.
Right.
It really was, to a certain degree, right? So having said that, she was like, okay, come do this show. So it was 1998. I got the tattoo to remember. It was 1998. It's the day of my birth. It's my birthday, 1998. I do. The first time I perform this poem, I do it at Jeffrey's Inner Circle, right? There at Jeffrey's Inner Circle is Chuy Gomez.
Wow.
Dwayne Wiggins.
Wow.
And I'm trying to think of one other. It was somebody else, big names, right? We're all there. So it's my birthday. I got on my white suit. I'm not going to say nothing right now. You feel me? Now I know my 79 cents was well spent. You feel me? From that show was recorded. They, Jessica Holter and Tracy Barlow, took that show and pitched it to HBO. So now, how I got on HBO is I auditioned for my part. Like everybody else had to spit their poem. There were some people, they were like,
right.
I came out, did my bit, and was like, I'll do better than this. This is just a warm up. They were like, okay, great. We're going to take you. I was different because I was the first out and out queer artist that was speaking out queerly. and it was like, wow, wow, she's just being honest. And so that's where that comes in. 1999, they actually record the whole show at what is now the New Parish, but it was Sweet Jimmy's back then. It was New Parish now. So we recorded there, 1999 New Parish. It was like 8 hours of recording. They had makeup artists. I had this really dope makeup artist. He was so sweet. He was the greatest guy. He was like, I was like, I don't want to look like I have makeup on. And he was like, I got you. And he did a really good job because it doesn't really look like I have makeup on in that show. Did the show. The show was a hit. HBO took the same editing clips, did it 2 more times in 24, 26, and the best of. So it's out there in 3 different episodes.
In that series.
My 20 seconds. And like, I am the longest running queer artist on TV.
Woo! Woo!
And I like, oh, but I'm not getting paid for it. No big deal. But I do get some kudos for that. So then after HBO, there wasn't really anything to do because I really wasn't working with that group. I was my individual self. And so Slam just really kind of started. So we had Oakland out here, Second Sundays, and Berkeley Slam at the time. And I, being from East Palo Alto, I'm only going to Oakland. I wasn't going to Berkeley. And we'll see if I go to the city. I didn't go to the city often enough.
Right.
It's just, it's a different type of crowd. So from 2000 to 2003, I was just trying to get on the Oakland Slam team. That's how long it took me to get on the Slam team. I didn't make a team until 2003.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, I did Oakland, then 2005 was Berkeley, 2006 I didn't slam, 2007 I was the Grand Slam champion of San Francisco.
So I want to back up a little bit because, for me and you, like you're my road dogs. I just feel like we're having conversation. But for some that are in our audience that may be watching this, they may not know what a slam is or what that whole world is about or even how a slam poem is different than, say, a regular poetry night that they might have gone to. So why don't we back up a little bit and tell people what is a slam?
So like a slam, think of slam as a competition. It's a competition, and just like diving or gymnastics, where you get your judges, you got some judges. They gonna give you some points for your
right.
Poem, right? You either doing it for money or you doing it for kudos or to make a team, right? But hopefully you getting some money out of it, so you're gonna, back when the rules were originally set in place, it was 5 points for performance, 5 points for the poem itself, right? And so like you had more emphasis on trying to mesh a good performance with those words. I can do a body slam. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But so you have you get a time limit. There are different types of time limits, but the typical time limit is 3 minutes and a grace period of 10 seconds. So you got 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Right.
What you got to say and get off the stage. You got 5 random judges that are going to judge you. Hopefully they really are random, and hopefully you're at a bar so that you can offer drinks so that people can be a little kind of happy.
More fun, more of a festive atmosphere. One thing I want to interject really quick, because I think it's so important. It's actually one of the things that attracted me to slam as a performance competition is that it's one of the few performance competitions where I feel like a brand new person has almost an even playing field as an experienced person because of the judges. Because the judges don't come from, they're not like, experienced poets who've been doing it for 20 years. They're just random people you might pick off the street. It can't come down to, did Sally break up with her boyfriend this afternoon, so now she's feeling an FU poem, you know what I mean? Or it may come down to, is Bobby feeling political today, so he might want to hear some political poetry? Or maybe somebody's feeling sentimental about their mama, so it is different type of judging than any other kind of judging. I can't think of another competition that's the same, where you just have random people judge people that may have been doing this for 20 years on their art form.
Correct. You don't know nothing about writing. You don't know nothing about
Right. Try telling a Mike McGee he's doing it wrong.
Like really?
Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just wanted to let just to give the audience some more context of, what these competitions look like.
The thing, here's the other thing that people will say about slam. There is a formula. There is a formula on a slam poem. However, whatever poem you write, you can slam. You feel me?
Right,
There's
right.
a formula to write slam poems. If you want to write slam poems, there's a formula. However, if you just want to write a poem and write that poem, you slam it. If you believe in your words, then it doesn't matter what style of poetry you write. The way you perform it will get people to hear you.
Right.
In my opinion. That's me, my professional opinion as a performance artist. It's all about your performance of your words and how much you believe what it is you're saying.
Right.
I used to write poems. You still write poems. Stop playing.
And this is where I gotta show off a little bit. I never get to talk about you're one of my great mentors of my life. But I used to, for people that may or may not know, Seven was my personal mentor when I got into spoken word. I got in kind of backwards, whereas a lot of people hit the stage and they're performing their poetry. I came in from the other direction. I came in from the production side, where I was producing shows, but I wasn't performing my own stuff yet. So when I did start getting out there and performing, I was lucky enough to have known Seven through other work we had done together. And, I would go to your shows and watch how you perform. And I would get to get that firsthand knowledge. I remember specifically, like, one thing you said to me, like, it's one of those things I'll take to my grave, but it was one of those chilling moments where I remember you were competing and you had gone through your first round and you killed the first round. Like, the judges loved you for the first round. And then I said, oh man, that was dope. What are you going to do next? And you said to me, I don't know yet. It depends on what these next scores are. So it was the first time that I learned, like, you had taught me that you can't just go in with, okay, I'm going to do these 2 or 3 poems and this is what I'm going to do. You have to have a bag of tricks to be able to pull from, because maybe the audience is feeling love poems tonight. Maybe they're feeling, dark poems tonight, or, so you don't really know what you're going to perform until you watch how the judges are scoring the other poets coming ahead of you. There's so much strategy to it. To me, I love it because it's like, it's poetry, but it's also chess. There's so much strategy in figuring out, how am I going to beat these other people that I know got dope poetry, because I compete against them every week.
I was competing, and people don't understand, like, when I say I was competing against some of the greatest poets of my era, I mean, I was competing against Sonia Renee Taylor. I was competing against Talam Acey. I was competing against Aid Mabry. I was competing against, Nazila and Jamie DeWolf and
Scorpio.
What's her name? Patricia Smith. Like,
right.
Hardy. Like Rudy
Giant.
Francisco, you know what I mean? And that's in my older days that I'm competing against Rudy, you know what I mean? But I'm competing what's his name? Inner City
Right.
was teammate, competitor at Dorsey's Locker. You feel me? So like we grew, like to say we grew up together. We grew up together. Prentice, Inner City, or excuse me, Sean William. Those two guys were on the 2003 Poetry Slam team. Our first team together. So like that's how far back I can go with some of these people who are now Grammy nominees, this and this and this, Seeking, aka Mark
Right.
who's now Kennedy Center. He was one of the cats I used to slam against in the 99 and 2000, 2001. So it's like
I always joke with people on this show that Raphael Casel still owes me $20, and he was on Loki. Yeah, it was, it's amazing to me, like, B and I talk about it often, but it was amazing to me how we happen to be part of this scene, and you don't realize it as you're going through it. You're just living your normal life. But then when you look back and you realize, man, like this was like a golden era where I just happen to know some of the most incredible and influential people on the planet. We did an album. In fact, you were on the album. Never was released, but WMI, Weapons of Mass Instruction, right? There's 15 poets on that album. When we went into the studio to produce that album, 3 out of the 15 were well-known names. 5 years later, 13 out of the 15 had either been to Def Poetry Jam or had been on Flow Verses and Flows, or other, well-known, high-respected, spoken word industries. So, I mean, we were amongst giants, and you happen to be one of the more giantess.
quietly. I try to stay quiet for the most part. I talk my trash. I talk my trash, but but I back it up. So
Right.
But yeah, I was 4 teams in the Bay Area: Berkeley, San Francisco, Berkeley, championship team Berkeley, Oakland, and Palo Alto.
And you were Grand Slam master on.
Grand Slam champion of those 4 teams.
Right. And just so you know, for the audience, the Grand Slam champion means what?
Oh, so the Grand Slam champion means that I beat all the other poets.
She beat everybody. I did that once.
To be number 1 on the team.
Right.
But yeah, I did that. And so to say the least, I'll say this as a piece of Bay Area Slam history so that it is on record somewhere. One year, Michael Sorelli, dope dude, moved to New York. Michael Sorelli made every team. He made San Francisco, he made Berkeley, he made Oakland, and he made San Jose. And he had them all on hold as to who he was going to choose to be the Grand Slam champion, right? So he's the one who had the rule that got started. One of the first Bay Area rules that got started in Slam was if you are intending on going out for more than one team and you either go with the first team that you know what I mean? Like, okay, so if I was going out for Oakland and Berkeley and I made Oakland, then I don't have to slam at Berkeley. I can give that spot to somebody else so that somebody else can actually slam and make it. You feel me? Because he held up everybody being able to. He held up any of us that were like on the bottom of the rung that could have come up. He held us all out of it.
Wow.
Right. And so that was something that changed in that after that year. that was something that changed in the rules of how you were going out for a team.
Wow.
In the Bay Area.
All right.
Right? So that's some Bay Area history. But yeah, lately, I'll tell you what I've been doing. So, I do my acting every once in a while. When I'm bored and I don't have nothing else to do, I act. Slamming, so I'll just write a play or something and go do it. So I wrote in 2018 I did one called Demi Slave, the Second Coming of Moses. It was a Harriet Tubman play. And then 2019 I did Childhood Stories, a fairy tale, which is all of my fairy tales, my adult fairy tales.
Right.
Where Foxy Loxy has gone through some of the stories and so I made this whole show. And then I did drag for a minute. I did drag and I won.
Yay! Congratulations.
So yeah, so I was drag king in 2017. I think I was the drag king in 2017. But yeah, so I did that. And then the latest thing that I've done where I've gotten I won something is 2022, my Childhood Stories won the Best of the Marsh full-length play. It was an international show, so it was all solo. It was all like, it was in a box, so it was like, how are you gonna do this? So I did the play in the box. It was pretty cool. So like doing my character change from, how Foxy Loxy is supposed to switch from boy to girl, right? So I would sit in the chair and then I would turn around, I would spin around, and I'd come back around.
Right.
Pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I had a great time.
So for those in the audience, there's different types of poetry. I always love when I tell people, I used to do poetry, because a lot of times you get people that, they have something very specific in their mind and like, oh my God, but they don't realize the, the performance aspect of it. And for those that may not know, what Seven was just doing was from a poem that she has, but it's very. What's fantastic about watching you on stage is when you do your poem, you are in that poem. You're not telling the story, you're living the story. So that it's almost as if the words didn't exist, I could still understand the story that you're telling. And I think, that poem in particular with Foxy Loxy and Loosey Goosey and all those characters, and the way that you've rewritten it very specifically is one of those poems where you can see each character come to life as you are jumping into that character.
Well, that poem. So to make a clear reference, I'm referencing Henny Penny, right? Everyone knows the story of Henny Penny, and if you don't, Henny Penny, the sky is falling. Everybody knows that story, right? And she's running around town saying that the sky is falling, right? So some people say, what's the story of Chicken Little? Yes, and.
Right.
Yes, and. We'll talk about Chicken Little some other time.
Chicken
Little was doing some other stuff, and yes. Anyway, so everyone remembers public speaking class. Oh yeah, yeah, it did make people nervous. I didn't care. I love talking.
It's there was Jerry Seinfeld has that one joke that says Americans, if you look at the top two fears of Americans, number one is public speaking. You know what number two is? Death. So Americans fear speaking in front of an audience more than they fear dying.
That's not bad. But yeah, so I took Henny Penny and I created an adult version of the story to be kind to the audience, right? And when I say adult, I don't mean explicit more than I mean, adult things that happen that adults do that children don't
Right.
do.
Not a poem for children
Not
necessarily.
necessarily, right? A teenager maybe, right?
Right.
But like a 17-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
so
a fun poem. Let's just say that.
so what I did was I started that poem probably like in 2000 and didn't do nothing with it. And then I was reading it and I was like, this is too long. It was a short story. It wasn't a poem. It was a
Right.
short story because my characters, so the original version, each character has I describe what they're wearing.
Hmm.
You feel me? So I describe what they have on also. It's not just this quick flippant description of them. It's a full, this is from head to toe. This is what this person looked. I wanted you to see this person. You know what I mean? I wanted you to see this character. Right? So
Right.
what happened was I went to the library, I checked out every version of Henny Penny I could find. And I read them all over again. And I looked at all of them and I was like, all right, which version of the story do I want to follow? And so I took a mashup of two different versions. And that's how I got the story to be condensed. Because I had to remember, so like reading the story, I had to find the tagline. Right? What's the tagline? Because it's Henny Penny is going to go tell the king that the sky is falling. That line continues to repeat every page. Every page, that's the line at the end of every page. That's the line. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how I started it, and then I did all the other stories the same way. I read different versions, chose the version that I wanted to mimic, and did just that. So I took Foxy Loxy out of Henny Penny and put him in Red Riding Hood, Goldilocks, and the Three Pigs. And the way I did it, Henny Penny, the story of Henny Penny weaves through the entire.
And the big bad wolf, I think, is in there too, right?
Correct.
Right. Right.
D Wolf.
Yeah. Right.
Is in
It's
there.
been a
So,
long time
yeah,
since
you
I've heard
gotta
this.
have all characters so that's why I changed the line. So after creating all this, I had to change a line in Henny Penny so that it matches the story. And it brings D Wolf into the mix while Foxy Loxy still exists.
Right.
So
Nice.
it's fun. It's fun. It's writing is fun.
I'm hoping, and we didn't talk about this, so I don't want to necessarily put you on the spot because I hate it when people do this do this to me. But if you have anything that you can perform, just to show people, because I really want people to see, who may not be familiar with what spoken word is, to see, it is different than what they think a traditional poem is. I don't know if you have anything.
Look, you see, you get on my nerves. You get on my nerves.
Yeah.
Honey, me too. Me too.
Wow.
I'll do my opening statement. Right? I'll do my opening statement. I'm filled way past my brim with the richness of flowing poetic rhymes that'll blow your mind into another level. I can handle any whackness so you can go back and practice your weak flow at someone else's show. I know my words is the cause of your stammer vocals because I came on down your throat with no remorse, of course. No nut in my house. Watch out, sports fan. Man, you can't hang because I bring more static than bounce can cling. Looking to swoon me because I had a tongue ring. Go figure. Better watch yourself. Because I'm dropping bombs as if I were a stealth. Exploding lyrics in your ear, but you can't hear what I'm saying. Saying.
Woo! Woo!
I wrote that in 1997.
We have well, of course those don't know, but on our album, Seven is one of the 15 poems on the album, and she did a piece called Supervillain, which for all the nerds out there, I want to say we counted at least 27
There
characters,
are
right?
over 40 characters in that poem. Get out of here.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah, it comes to a point where you can't even keep track of it at some point.
Get out of here. I mean, what is it? What line is it? I even bring cerebrum in it. You gotta you gotta stop it. You have to stop.
Seeing Jason perform that on stage was absolutely amazing. Watching a 9-year-old perform your poem at that time was absolutely amazing. Yeah, I wish we could get that out, but of course we don't have that out. So is there anything that what are you working on now? What kind of stuff are you doing now? Are you still in the poetry scene? Are you doing other types of arts right now?
Okay, so I just graduated from yoga therapy school, so I'm a certified yoga therapist. So what now my performance coaching becomes something bigger. Thank you. Getting my lines for me. But yeah, so I'm a yoga therapist, and I have a performance workshop that I'm doing right now. It started already.
Oh yeah, chill list.
I just did the chill list. That's that picture of me in that pretty shirt, that pretty purple shirt in the intro.
Again, for people in the audience, Chill List is it's a very unique show in that it's in Modesto, the last place you would think it would be. It's a huge show once a year. It's invitational only. The poets that perform there, you can't compete to be on the show. You have to be invited to be on the show. But Sam Piersdorf picks literally the best in the world, let alone the best in the country. And you've been on that at least twice now, right?
So the team one, the chill list, I got a trophy sitting in front of me too.
Woo! Yeah.
I bring home trophies. I don't play around.
Yeah. So Chill List, you've recently been on Chill List as well, but you're working on a group thing with your yoga.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is a performance. So basically, like, I know for myself that this whole time I've been using different types of breath techniques to expand my lungs and be able to hold words and speak longer and all that stuff. And like, unbeknownst to me, I've been using a lot of yoga to enhance my performances, right? So now that I have this yoga therapy certification, I am creating a workshop that utilizes technical breath techniques that are pranayama from the yogic world. And I also bring in different types of yoga poses to go with strengthening your body and your overall realigning yourself overall in order to be a stronger performer in whatever it is you want to do. So it's for me, my work is, when I say performance, I'm saying like whatever it is you're doing, right? If you want to take my 4-week course, it's going to help you simply because you now have a professional who's able to just sit with you, talk to you, help you develop, and just realign yourself. At the same time, get better at speaking out your ideas, or you know what I mean, getting your ideas out and having them seen by and worked with by a professional.
Right. That actually would be helpful. It's like when football players do ballet classes. It helps strengthen other muscles and that they're using to help perform the activity that they're actually doing.
Exactly. So
wow, that sounds unique. I haven't heard of other other people doing something like that, or but it makes sense to me.
Well, most people are doing writing workshops.
Right.
No one's really doing performance workshops, but dancers. I'm like, no, there are other people who need performance workshops. So I said the goal is to,
Wow.
use yoga therapy and be able to like give performance workshops for free. Really, I don't want to just, I give my stuff away. I try to help y'all. I try to help anybody the best I can.
No,
Whichever.
you know what? That's a dope. I've never really thought about that, but like, I would like, okay, so a lot of people, for the people in the audience, when you go to national competitions, every year there's national slam poetry competitions, usually team competitions, individual competitions, and then there's a women's league competition. And then when you go to these competitions, so they'll have poets flying in from all over the country, certainly all over the country, but also all over the world. There's poets that come from Canada and France and different
France,
parts of Mexico,
Germany.
Germany, right? They come out for these competitions. So these competitions, like I went one year, I went in 2008 representing Team Sacramento. Um, and it was an amazing experience for me. Imagine whatever genre of music or whatever you're into, whether it's rock or hip hop or whatever. Imagine being able to go and hang out with your favorite stars and eat pizza with them and drink a beer and get techniques and get tips from your favorite artist on the planet. You're sitting right next to them, you know what I mean, hanging out, just hanging out. And you're walking through town seeing like the biggest names you admire, but nobody in the regular community knows who they
Knows who
are.
they are.
Right.
I mean, golly. I mean, there's just so Lori, yes, yes. There's just so many Denise Jolly. There's just so many names I could drop. Like, golly, man, these people are dope, yo.
Right. Right. And so when you go to these competitions, the competitions will be at nighttime. So it might be Team Texas versus, might be Colleen versus San Francisco or something like that. You'll have all these bouts and matches up during the nighttime, but during the daytime there's usually these cool workshops that are happening for the poets so they can go and meet with the other poets and learn maybe how to do their marketing better or how to revise better or how to do team pieces better. Um, you doing a workshop, I've never heard of one like that, and I think it would be absolutely valuable and amazing. You need to get paid for this. But doing an exercise for poets, like what kind of yoga poses can I do that's going to help me extend my breath out longer to do the longer sentences, or is going to allow me to hold enough oxygen so that I can get through my complete verse or what have you. That's absolutely amazing. Or
What's gonna
a
keep
lot
me
of times people
limber?
aren't thinking about when you're on stage and you're using your body, am I going to be able to get through a long dialogue as I'm stretching my body out this way? Or do I need to conserve my body space so that my lungs can, get more of that? There's a lot that you could bring to the table. That's a fantastic idea. I'm jealous now. Yeah.
You know. So yeah, that's what I'm up to these days.
Wow. That's seriously dope. Like, I could see you getting, like getting really, really big name because this would help singers as well, not just poets.
Singers, dancers, writers, performance artists of any kind. Comedians, anybody. Because
Yeah,
again, what you need is someone who's a writer who can hear what you're saying, help you, and say, what. So again, what audience, you told me what audience that I had to speak for. Now, if this was a different audience, there would have been 10 or 12 F bombs already released on the show. You heard me.
right,
You know what I'm saying? But you said that this is a kid friendly show. So I said, okay, yes, sir. I got you. I got
right.
it. We good. You feel me? So, like, you should be able to code switch, in my opinion. You should be able to code switch for any audience you need or for whatever that means. But you don't know how to do that because no one's ever questioned you. No one's ever, like, you've never given anyone or yourself permission to actually, like, really get okay, so if it's for this audience, cool. If it's not for this audience, you got work to do. right? I remember when Kyber Cave started. I was like, well, you know who your audience is, obviously.
Right.
I suggest you go here or here. Remember, you might want to go over here. You might want to go over here. This is where more nerds are that I can think of.
Right.
Go do some Comic Cons. Go do this. Go do that. And what did you do? Start doing Comic Cons. Start doing this. Start doing that. Now here you are.
Right.
So like, it
I
doesn't.
definitely could see you getting some big time performance artists to pay you good money to do private classes for them, private yoga
That's
classes.
I would prefer. I prefer private. I prefer one-on-one. I really do. A group is your style is different from Conocida, from you know whoever, Poet Eye. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're going, Jamie the Wolf versus Nazila versus, you know, one of the blackety black poets who's all they're doing is blackety black black black. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Versus the victim poem, the woe is me poem. You gotta know your audience.
Right.
And that's, you gotta study, you gotta look at your audience, pay attention to your audience. Like, that's what was cool about the Bay too, is your audience from San Francisco to Oakland, from Oakland to Berkeley to Palo Alto. There's all different people. Not to say they aren't all, the people in Palo Alto. So what people were forgetting about the people in Palo Alto, people in Palo Alto are all not to say educated, but you right there at Stanford. So you're dealing with a lot of, like Berkeley is next to Cal. You're dealing with a lot of people who are working their minds, so you can play a little more wordplay with those people. Whereas, not to say you can't do the wordplay in Oakland, but the wordplay in Oakland you better do is rhyming wordplay, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can still do it. It's just a different style. So I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm excited about doing the performance coaching. I just think that everybody, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. You could just be throwing out a business idea to me.
Right.
We're gonna take breath work. We're gonna still do yoga to help you align yourself to get it together the way you want it and for the audiences you want it for.
Specialize it for the type of show that you do.
Correct.
All right. No, I totally feel it. I'm watching. I'm going to be watching it. This is going to blow up. This is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I really think so. I'm working on like right now. I did it as an 8-week thing, and I'm like, well, nah, I don't have to do 8 weeks. I can do 4 for a certain type of thing. This 8-week one was like, this is for performers. So I think there's going to be one where it's like, if you plan on performing and you have a work in progress that you want to work on, then we'll do the 8-week one.
Right. Or you know what? You could even do
performances.
You could even break it down to multiple classes. What about a 1 month singers class, or a 1 month dancers class, or a 1 month, specialize it in a comedian, but all of those classes, all the yoga and the exercises you do are going to be geared more towards the particular industries.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Hey, here we go, business. So, audience, this is how business people who are not afraid to talk, right? This is business, right? We are talking true professional business right now. You're witnessing what it looks like for friends to love each other and just talk business and get business ideas. And this is how the progress moves forward, because somebody believes in what you're saying. So, like, don't be afraid to talk to your friends, or the ones that are doing work. You talk to them. The ones you see building something, then you talk to them, because then at least they're going to be able to say, that sounds good, or maybe I will work on this, or maybe I'll work on that, like Go just did for me.
And he, for a lot of people that don't know, like I said, before I got into Sabers, before I was a preschool teacher, I spent about 10 years doing, the arts and spoken word and all kinds of stage activities. We were in a TV show together that was on in over a million homes. And Lucky has always been my personal lucky piece. So almost, yep, there's our tattoos that we got together. Almost every project that I've done, I brought Lucky in one way or another. I want to say I probably produced 200 live shows before I ever hosted my own show live, which is kind of funny now because then it's so natural. I do it all the time now. But I remember in the beginning, I was so afraid of it. I always hired a host because I knew how important the host was. And many times, this was the host that I hired.
Yo, them 4-hour shows were the business, yo.
I still have it up. If you look up AI Live, it's still there.
16 years is still waiting. What you need?
We did. I think it's on my. I'm not sure if it's on our Patreon, but. For anyone that's interested, I posted it on my page before, but we did a TV show 16 years ago. I still feel like was way ahead of its time. We mixed hip hop, we mixed rock, we mixed comedy and spoken word poetry and open mic, and we had the $100 freestyle battles on the show too. We used to do that show was the ish. And what's funny now, huh?
We had magicians.
Right, exactly. Well, that was part of our open mic.
My card in it. I my card in it. This dude put I pulled the 7 of diamonds, and the 7 of diamonds was in my Corona bottle. I don't know how he did it. I don't care how he did it. That was some cool mess. That was cool. That was so cool.
That show was a ton of fun to do. But I have that. If anybody's interested, let me know, and I'll put it back out on my page again. But I have our old I have the first 2 episodes, I think, available. That what was I gonna say? You know what I always think about though? This is just for me and you, and then I'll let it go. Right now with everything, like I'm always hearing about AI, how AI is taking over, and I was like, we were doing AI 16 years ago.
Right.
The name of our show was AI Live way back in the day. So now when I hear about all this AI stuff, it always makes me think back to our old work. All right, Seven. We are over our time. I appreciate you coming out. It's been so much fun talking to you. Like I said, I've been running this show almost 4 years now, and I was like, man, I need to bring Kel out, or I need to bring Seven out to see, because I've never actually talked to you on the show, and I thought it would be a good time to talk to you since now you were going to be our official model for Kyber Cave. So I still get to bring, even though I'm not doing poetry anymore, I'm still bringing you with me into my other adventures.
No more like that either. I only did the chill list because Dre made me do it.
Right. Well, that's because you're fantastic at it. All right. Thank you, my dear. I love you always, and I will see you soon. Message on our page. You and Marissa get together and figure out a time you can do that photo shoot.
Who, Ark?
Who? What?
Mezzo.
Did I say Mezzo?
Mezzo, I got you.
No, you did not, sir.
What did I say?
The wrong thing.
My real name.
Oh, sorry.
Messing
Sorry.
around saying people government names.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get people locked up around here. She's running from the law. She's running for the FBI. All right, Mezzo, roll that film. I got busted.
It's so weird when you say my real name. It is such a weird feeling.
It's so because
I'm so used to Mez because of my YouTube, my Facebook being changed.
right. It changes. I'm like I have you under 700 different names depending on what I need to talk to you about.
Goodness. She had me thinking. I went and I pulled up 4 of my old poems that I don't think I've actually shared with anyone in probably 20 years.
Really?
Yes, I don't want to say them out loud. It feels weird that I've never done that before.
Have you ever performed in front of an audience doing spoken word?
Only singing. I've never. That was fun. It's in the comments now. I've never said it in front of anyone.
We got to bring you out to a spoken word show. There's so much fun, especially a slam.
I can do one for you.
Okay, all right, let's hear it.
Oh gosh, I'm so nervous. I have no training whatsoever in spoken word. I've only written it.
You do one, and I'll do one short one that I can remember.
Okay. I'm tired of feeling hate or something they cannot take. So great they cannot relate. We unite as one with a gun. That's not how it's supposed to be. We need peace and prosperity. Listen to how people talk, the way they walk. Different since the day that shocked us, that rolled around and rocked us. Some of us died, some of us cried, but we can come together and say we tried. How can human beings act this way? A subject where everyone's got something to say. Stepping close to the edge, waiting to die, showing we wiped away our tears and no longer cry. Think about someone being a mother, a sister, a father, a brother. We need to support each other. Why did this happen? A question often heard. I honestly think it's absurd. A day we'll always recall when part of us had to fall. We've got some left and that can be strong enough to keep us going on. So take a moment of silence on this day of prayer and remembrance.
Wow. Hardcore.
Oh, geez. I wrote that for a 9/11 when that happened.
Well, I was going to say, there was some emotion there.
Yeah. I was like 17.
All right. Woo-hoo. All right. So just to let you know, the word steamer refers to oil tankers, oil ships. I used to work on oil tankers. So this was the very first spoken word poem I ever wrote. It's funny because it's one of the few that I can actually remember, and it's the very first one I wrote, but it's only because it's so short. The fat cat pack stacks of cash and sacks and quickly makes a gasket gas for his beamer. All the while with the smiles, he piles his money, thinking it's funny. He's never even been on a steamer. Like slit wrists with veins in a twist, we slowly bleed our lives away in these ships. So here's a tip to those who ain't hip. You ain't a man, you're a commodity. Property, placed sloppily, not properly in these rusted floating bombs. Yeah, we adhere to no beer, but forget our needs. These seeds were planted. Granted is the caring hand for the man, but only for his protection from detection, inspection, and insurrection in the courts. So if the tide rides high, and in the blink of an eye, you go over the side, he may get teary-eyed and sigh, because damn, what a waste. That's another piece of equipment I got to replace.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know if that's actually how it happens. When someone was talking about like breathing exercises, I mean, it's like the same thing with singing. And when I've done martial arts, the breathing from martial arts and from singing like helped when both, vice versa, like both ways, to get through. And someone's like, get it. To get through lines. And so when I wrote poems, and I was into singing, I know that phrasing was quite important. So I'd write things out as if it was like something I was singing. I used to actually rap that more than just say it. I actually would sing one of the, out of like an artistic decision, one of the words would actually have proper singing, just one word. It was like the one hopeful word in the whole part that I had sang. I'm rocking back and forth because I was nervous.
You did a fantastic job.
Thank you for having never done it before in front of anybody.
Right. And you just did it in front of one of the world's best poets.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't know what to say. All right, guys. So moving on, guys. I want you, before we close out the show, I want to remind you of the shows we have going on. We have the New Order, which actually has 10 episodes that we are working on right now.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it's interesting. So we have an interesting solution to this. We lost episode 3. and episode 4 only has my voice. We're going to reenact episode 4, but episode 3, we're actually thinking of making it like an animated reenactment.
Oh, wow.
In a sense, which will provide a little bit more work to be done, but I think it's going to be worth it because it's going to be kind of funny.
Nice.
Little like we have characters, we have images of our characters. I'm going to draw chibi like versions of them with a couple different emotions to the face, and then kind of animate it. Also, we also have Retro Alcove, which is every Monday evening, 5:15.
Yes.
Raph said, "Wait, that you about 15 years ago, Van? That was Van at the beginning of that clip."
Yeah, with the pink hair, that was me.
And the light hair in the front, I had to include it. I couldn't not. And Swissy says, "You underestimate my powers." So then Retro Alcove is Monday nights at 5:15-ish p.m. Pacific. That is Graveyard Show. We have the New Order coming up. We have Saturday Morning Nerd Out, which if you'd like to go and watch some of them, you can. Unfortunately, that's just one of those shows that we talk about current news, like for trailers and such. But there's always a section called the Nerd Out, where a segment where one of the hosts chooses a topic to nerd out about, and that is never out of date. So if you want to check out just the Nerd Out section, that'd be really cool. Maybe I should do some of the...
We should do those as shorts or something.
I should do those chapter time codes, too. Usually they're longer than a minute, though. So, like...
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so that's all of our shows, guys. And don't forget, in 60 subscribers, we will be giving away a Neo Pixel Saber because we will have gotten to 2,000.
That's right. And I want to thank everybody, too. We are, I can't remember, what are we at, 190 or something? How many,
This is 191.
191. We are 9 episodes away from 200 episodes. That just blows my mind. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Some of our longtime viewers like Say Wong and Jedi Council Mike over there. A lot of our newer viewers that we've just met this year or the past year or so. When Mets came on, we were at 420. Huh?
We were at 468 when I joined April 28th, 2024, and at this moment we are 1,941.
So I had already gone through 3 other producers before Mez here, and those 3 producers got us up to 400 and some odd viewers, and then Mets took it over for the last, and we put in 1,500. I do a lot of work. I just want you guys to know I do a lot of work at cons. I know a lot of you people I've actually met at the cons, and that's why you're tuned in now. But I do a lot of work at the cons trying to promote this show. I feel like we have a fantastic show.
Break the brains in the organization.
I feel like we have a fantastic show. We've got a great family. I appreciate people like Raph and all you who tune in every single week and help bring new subscribers to the show. Don't forget those 60 more subscribers, and we give away a NeoPixel lightsaber. 59. Woohoo!
So also, guys, go ahead.
We picked up 1 more since the show started.
So Swiss had said 200 amazing shows, 200 chances to be amazed, 200 chances to be astounded, and 200 chances to be dazzled.
Oh, well, thank you.
And just to remind everyone, tonight's my last night for 5 weeks. This week, I'm preparing some editing for the first couple of Saber Rattles, but other than that, I am not here for 5 weeks. You guys will be okay without me, but I will be back on July 14th.
It will be me with a bunch of other spectacular hosts that you've seen on this show many times before. Aubrey, a.k.a. the Captain, will be here. Graveyard will be here. And Tony Negron will be here.
And will also be doing the editing for the ones I'm not editing for.
Oh, what was that?
Graveyard will also be doing the editing for the last 3 Sundays I'm not here.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. So, Mez will be back. It'll just be me with a variety of other people. So, don't worry. She will be back.
If anyone's curious on what I'm doing, I have 2 trips planned, but they don't take 5 weeks. This next weekend, I'll actually be just in Folsom for 3 nights. My husband and I have an anniversary trip where we're just going to go take some time away together. Nothing planned specific, but like just time together. And then we're back for a day and a half. Then we leave to Mexico for 5 days to help build a house. But then the rest of the time is me focusing some other projects, but taking just time off. in general. I have not had a break from this show at all since I started over 2 years ago. Even if I didn't host, I still edited everything for Saber Rattle and such. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You have an awesome week, and I'll see you in 6 weeks total. Bye.
I'll see you next week, though.
Yes, yes, you will. Okay, bye.
Bye.